Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle, and today I'm going to show you a fun little page, well, a fun big page that I did in my large Art by Marlene journal. I grabbed out this piece of collage paper from the cut and paste collage book, and I really love these flowers. So I love the colors of them. And I just love that they've got so much texture and interest in them. So I wanted to use that in my page today. So the idea is that I would glue them onto my page at the top, and then I just grabbed another little bit to bring it down on the left side, just a touch. So what I'm doing first, I'm just marking out where they're going to be, because obviously I don't want to be painting that whole big piece at the top where the flowers are going to sit. And I also don't really want to put the flowers down first before I start painting, because I'm guaranteed to get paint on them. So I started out with azure, this is mermaid, and then a little bit of white down in that space there, and just blending the mermaid and the white together. I wanted to make sure that there's some lightness on the page, because that collage paper is quite dark already, and it's got all those beautiful purples in and the deeper colors. So I wanted to make sure that I bring some sort of balance into this page. So I took out 2 stencils. I thought that I would use the stars, but because some of those flowers actually have stars on them, but I ended up not doing that. So I'm using this chicken mesh looking stencil, and I'm just doing reductive stenciling. I'm popping some paint down with my finger and then putting my stencil over the top and rubbing that excess away through that stencil. At the moment I am lining up my my stencil, so it looks like it's one continuous pattern but all different colors. So the first color was peony, and then I used happy as well, and now I'm going to go in with a little bit of white. And I think for this part I did not line up the stencil. No, I didn't. So at this stage I'm starting to create just a little bit more layering in my work. That top part I've gone in with royal, because obviously I want the top part to be a little bit darker to kind of replicate a shadowy area. So that's why I chose to go with that deep purple. It's a beautiful color. It's very pigmented. And now I wanted to bring the shadowy bit down a little bit more, and I wanted to bring the lightness up a little bit more. I know it seems counterproductive, but it does work out in the end. So I've gone in with the royal, and I'm just doing a little bit of mark making with my brush. I'm doing the same with the peony, and I will go in with white as well. And I'm just trying to extend, or I'm trying to balance out the light and the dark and make them work well together on the page. I am going over the top of some of those marks with my other marks, and it doesn't bother me. It's all part of building those layers. And as you can see, I didn't take my marks up quite far enough. So I'm just going to keep going, keep adding more and more. And this time I'm going back in with ballet. So this background is looking quite busy at the minute, but you know me, I love a good background that's nice and busy and colorful and lots of layers. It really does make me happy. Then I decided to glue the flowers down. So because I had the bulk of the painting done, I didn't glue right to the edge because I still wanted to be able to lift up those flowers and get in underneath them if I had to go in with stamps or whatever, which is what I'm doing now. So I grabbed out the grungy texture stamp, and I adore this little strip of squares, or they're kind of circly squares. I guess you call them a squoval or a squircle, maybe. I think that's what they could be called. I don't know. But I really, really love that shape. And I'm going in with that other stamp that's got the bigger letters on. And I'm just going in with a little bit of white paint pen. And I am making sure that I'm cleaning my stamp off very well when I'm done. I do not want to leave any paint stuck onto that stamp. And I grabbed out a neon pink paint pen, and that I'm just scribbling directly onto the stamp, because I think maybe it's getting a little bit dry, or maybe the nib isn't working so well, but I couldn't get quite enough out on my palette. And again, I'm just cleaning them off before I even put them back into the packet. If you ever do use paint on your stamps, it's wonderful because you don't need 700 million stacks of inks, but please remember to clean your stamps. All right, so at this stage, I was thinking this page was feeling a little bit dark, and I needed to do something to bring a little bit more brightness in, because I love the grungy look of it, but it was maybe a little bit too grungy. So I'm going in with Marlene's neon paints. First I went in with Boom, which is the orange. Now I'm going in with Funky, which is the pink. I think I go in with the hot pink. So the hot pink is, that's it. It's almost like a blend between orange and pink. It's really lovely. I do love the pop that it gives. And now I'm going in also with a little bit of punk, it's called. That's the purple one. And I'm just darkening some of those purple areas, and I'm brightening up some of the lighter areas. And I really like the way that looked. And now I'm going in with the yellow as well, and I'm just adding yellows here and there. That one flower at the top right had a yellow center, so I thought I would boost that yellow color. And then I'm just splodging here and there with my finger, smudging things out until I'm happy with the way it looks. Okay, I decided to brighten up some of those colors even more, especially the ones in the center. Obviously, there isn't a neon blue in Marlene's paint, so I'm just drawing it in with a paint pen, and it's like a turquoisey color. And I'm also going back in with the yellow, and I'm adding some red, I'm adding some black, and I'll also start adding white momentarily. So I outlined some of the flower centers first with a thicker line, and then I'm going in with my paint pen, and I'm just making looser scribbly lines with a thinner pen, and that really just adds a lot of dimension and interest, and that it actually makes that black line look not quite as harsh. I'm just going to go around all of these petals and make sure that they pop out again. Obviously, when I went over them with the paint, the black disappeared slightly. And also, whenever something is printed, it's never printed a true black. And I like to just make sure that my line work is nice and black. So there's a lot of faffing about going on here just to get it to look the way that I wanted. I think the battle for me was to try and brighten things up a bit, but also still have that grungy look, because I love the grungy look, but it was getting a bit dark. So when I go in with my white, I'm going over some of the lines. So the white, let me get my words right. when I go in with the white, I'm not tracing over the top of the black lines. They are still there. So you actually get these layers of line work in black and white together. And I really, really liked when I put that white line around. I thought that, okay, that's now pulling the page together. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go in with some shadowing. First, I'm using my favorite, which is Punk, and I'm bringing that shadow out quite a fair bit underneath the flowers. And I'm also topping up at the top there where I didn't do any of the painting. That was just part of the collage, but I wanted to bring that purple up again. And then once that is dry, I'm going to go in with my Stabilo All pencil all around the edges. I took these die cuts out and I thought, oh wow, that would look nice, but I'll add them at the end. And then I never did. But I'm not sorry that I didn't, because I really like the way the page came out. And now with the Stabilo All pencil, that shadow I'm not bringing down quite as far as the purple shadow. This just adds like an extra dimension of shadow. So even the shadowy areas are layered. I also added a little bit of that pencil in between the flowers to show where they're overlapping and to make them look a little bit more 3D, popping off of each other a little bit more. And then I added a couple of dots. So in that paper, the collage paper, Marlene had obviously done like splatters, I think, but a lot of that got covered up when I put the paints over the top. So I just wanted to bring those white dots back into the flowers again. And I'm really glad that I did that, because I thought that it looked really cute. My quote says, "Open your mind and let the images out." I'm going to pop that down. I do cut them apart to make them fit the way I want them to. And then I'm just going to do a little scribbly line around them. I'm also doing some scribbly bits on that outline. And then I think this is the last bit of faffing, is where I just added a little bit more white into the centers of the flowers, and also a couple of highlights on the leaves, on the petals here and there. All right, I'm going to love and leave you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you have not done so, and leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. I always say this because it is so true. Thank you for being here, and I will chat to you again soon. Bye.